Cool. Alrighty. So we'll just have you say and spell your first and last name so we have it correct for the story.
Okay. Udell, Udell,
Mm-hmm.
Cason, Cason Jr.
Okay.
Udell Cason Jr.
Junior. Okay. So when the civil rights era was going on, you were a college age student?
Actually, I was high school and in college, yes. For the most part, college in the 60s and 70s. So that was, yes, very prevalent back in the day where there were a lot of issues with respect to civil rights, etc.
Yeah. I'm sure you remember some of those moments better than others, yeah?
I do. I really do. I remember that great speech that Martin Luther King made. It was just very prodigious, just wonderful. And I think that got the attention of a lot of individuals because he demonstrated without using violence, without using words that were inappropriate. He was very, very bright. But there were a number of individuals like that. They just sort of followed in the footsteps of Martin Luther King and helped turn things around. So it was wonderful.
Do you remember a moment where there was blatant hatred or racism directed towards you specifically?
Yes, a couple, 3 times when I was on the track team at Drake, we used to go to the Arkansas relays, and of course there were some challenges, and we'd go to Texas relays, and I remember Texas relays, the coaches from Colorado, Wichita State, and Drake gave us permission to go out to have dinner. And the 3 of us, a young man from Colorado, one from Wichita State, and I went up to this restaurant, and the owner came out and said, "I'm sorry, sirs, we have not integrated our restaurant, and you're not allowed to eat." And so we didn't get out of shape. We did not engage in behavior that was inappropriate. We just went right back to the hotel and just was able to get food from the hotel. But that was very prevalent. Another kid from Gary, Indiana, that was track. He was long jump, and it had rained, so the event went late in the evening. So he and a young man from Ottumwa, was a shot putter, went to the drive up. I guess you can call it a restaurant or whatever. We stayed in a car, and the lady came out and said, "Sir, I can take your order, but I can't take his order. We don't serve colored." So the guy from Ottumwa just livid, and so the Drake participant, I should say Drake, but Marv Gilliam was his name, said, "Look, David, don't, it's not worth it." But he was livid because he's never been exposed to that. Now, this was a white guy, but he had never been exposed to that kind of behavior, so he went livid. But they went back to the hotel, and like Marv said, "Look, we can wait until breakfast at the hotel. We won't starve." But it was just those kinds of situations. In Oklahoma, back in the 60s, they would not let the team in the restaurant to eat because there were 2 of us, 2 minorities on the team. They said, "Well, we will put you in a separate room to eat." But again, that was the norm. And that being said, we knew what we had to do to move forward and not engage in behavior that would just not only punish us, but prevent us from moving forward. So.
Even with all that, there was big steps forward that were made to provide more equality, if you will. But now, does it feel like we're taking a step back, seeing all these things right now?
To some degree, it is like taking a step back. And we're not going to get into what possibly is causing it, it's not that important. But we are going backwards, and there are a lot of situations in which, particularly the minorities, are faced with inappropriate and undesirable kinds of situations. But we just have to maintain and look at where we are and where we're going to make things better. And hopefully we will get to the point where we can get back to where we were not too long ago. But I'm hoping that we can and will be able to.
What does that look like? I mean, what does a world without racism, bigotry, hatred look like? Have we ever had that fully?
Yeah, yes, but one of the things as an educator, we would tell youth, and I would tell kids, it starts when they're a youth, kindergarten, but they're only going to be a youth for a short while, and we need to teach them to matriculate into middle school. Again, as a teenager, it's for just a short while, but once they become an adult, they're an adult the rest of their life, and it behooves us as educators, politicians, individuals that work directly with youth and people, what we need to do to help turn some things around. So it's
work in progress, sounds like.
Yes, but it's something that's not insurmountable. It can be made. I think it can and will eventually get back to where it should be. And I think a lot of individuals are supporting a lot of things that we need to do. And I say we, I'm looking at various individuals, various ethnicities, what we can do to help turn our society around. Because you look at a lot of things that are happening, and we need to be able to help them understand that once they become an adult, they're an adult the rest of their life, and they need to make good choices, whether it's in grade school, middle school, high school, college. There's kids that are in various colleges that are engaging in behavior that certainly is not desirable. But we need to look at where we are and where we're going. And I said we, I'm talking about, as I said, I know I'm being redundant, but educators, politicians, police officers, you name it. We need to work in a collaborative manner to help turn a number of situations around so that it's a lot more comfortable.
Sure. Let me ask you this. When dealing with the youth and these young people, teenagers, even young adults at that college age, do you feel in some of these circumstances they do not understand the meaning behind the acts they're portraying? Or okay. Do you think it's ignorance, or do you think it's racism?
I think a little bit of, right, I think it can be racism, particularly if, in fact, they are, and not all, a lot of times families, adults are doing well, but the kids are emulating what other kids are doing, and they are engaging in that kind of behavior. So you cannot always put that on the parent, but it's we as parents must let them know this is not acceptable and cannot be tolerated. We simply cannot tolerate behavior that's undesirable, and that can be very rigid in terms of preventing a person from moving forward. And so we just need to be keenly aware of what we need to do to get individuals moving. As I said, you only a youth for a short while. You're only a youth for a short while. So as parents, as educators, we need to help kids. And then when they become adolescent, again, only for a short while. But again, we must work with them in a manner to help them get to adulthood. And then once they become an adult, they are an adult the rest of their life. So it behooves them to begin to look at ways that they can help themselves to be successful in life.
Nonetheless, though, doesn't mean that they deserve a slap on the wrist, though, just because they're a kid.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Other people might think, well, they're just kids.
No. But again, there are parents that, unfortunately, do not want educators or law enforcement individuals to address an issue, because then some parents think we're picking on them. It's not that we're picking on them. We're trying to help them understand what they need to do to move forward. Because if not, that's why they have Polk County Jail, Warren County Jail, and all these other jails, because they can and will put you in jail if your behavior warrants that. So.
And we've heard a lot of people. Well, it's just free speech. They can wear a white hood and burn a cross as long as they want, and that's their right to do so. But do we kind of toe the line of just decency of a human being versus free speech?
That's right. I know, like as you just said, it can be free speech by wearing that hood. But back in the day, the hood represented violence. A number of individuals were towed up on a rope in a tree with individuals with hoods. And that was the norm. So typically, yes, you say, well, that's free speech, but you have to be careful of what you say, how you say it, what you do, and how you do it in order to keep some decency in our society.
And I'm just going to end on this. When you have recently seen these things in the news, Charlottesville, what happened here at your alma mater just over the weekend, other instances in our neighboring communities, when you saw that, what was your reaction? Were you mad? Were you upset? Were you like, I cannot believe this?
Well, getting mad is not going to fix it. You can become angry or you can be somewhat upset, but to me, getting mad is saying, okay, I'm mad and I'm going to be vindictive and I'm going to take care of it one way or the other. We just need to continue to work with individuals like that one parent that with the kid down in Creston had the hoodie. That one particular parent came out, said they do not appreciate it, and they addressed it very wonderfully. So, but again, it's something that we as adults have to be keenly mindful of. What is it that we can do to help these individuals without getting mad? Because sometimes by getting mad, you end up doing something that you should not. What is it that we can do? We can help educate them, help them have a clear understanding of what they should do and shouldn't do. But it's up to us as adults to help the youth so that they can, as they matriculate through school, get to adulthood so that they can be successful in life.
I think we'll end there. I learned a lot from you.
So what?
I said, I learned a lot from you.
I learned a lot from you too.
Thanks so much.
No, kids are, like I said, kids aren't bad. You hear people say, there's a bad kid. Kids aren't bad, but kids can make a bad choice. And a bad choice can lead to a bad situation. So, we can't say, oh, he's just a bad boy or bad girl. He's just bad. No, he made a bad choice, but it behooves us to look at how we can help him make better choices. So.
Yeah, it's really some formative years right now for younger people.
Yes.
And when you see it on social media and all that, then you wonder, there's lots of probably external factors that maybe pour into why somebody might think that would be a good idea.
Well, and then again, there are a lot of adults that simply have not been able to turn themselves around because they grew up that way. But change can be a challenge for a number of individuals. But change for the good is something we need in our society. And it's not just indigenous to Des Moines or Iowa. There are a number of cities, there are a number of states that are facing situations that's uncomfortable. But again, we need to look at where we are, where we're going, what is it that we can do to help these individuals, particularly the young individuals, school age. So.
There's a video, Eric.
Yeah, just a few more
Okay.
shots here.
Cool. I think that's it. And I think right now the story will air at 6 p.m. tonight
Oh, okay.
on Channel 13. I think is what I saw before I left. I think that's where it'll run.
Okay. I will have to have someone tell me about it because as I said, I teach Taekwondo
Oh yeah.
Tuesdays
this
and
evening.
Thursdays, 5:30 to 6:30 for beginners and 6:30 to 7:30 for advanced.
Yeah, he's like a 7th.
Degree black belt.
Nice. I'm a fan of mixed martial arts.
Oh, okay. Well,